Protests against TPP, the Trans-Pacific Partnership, are raging in Europe. Thousands of Germans taking to the streets to protest this trade deal, so-called trade deal, that is a huge threat to consumers. And Europe is very concerned about this. There's a new round of talks that's going to be happening soon, and more than 200 different demonstrations took place across Germany over the weekend. Demonstrators marching in protest of TPP, also known by different names, I guess, depending on which country you're in. And Lewis, it's incredible how in Europe they're aware not only of TPP, also aware of TTIP, which is the other name that it goes by, and they recognize how big of a deal this is. I was just at a conference over the weekend, which I'll talk about later, and at one of the sessions, Mike Papantonio actually said, raise your hand if you've heard about TPP, and like 3 to 5% of the people in the room even had heard of it, Lewis, never mind knew what it was. This is such a huge thing. Everybody needs to be aware of this.
It's really incredible how great a job the administration has done and corporate media has done of not letting people know about this. I think much of that, of course, is deliberate. And I'm not sure, what else to say about it. They've just done a great job of keeping it hush hush.
Well, what's the advantage to American corporate media of covering TPP? There is no advantage whatsoever. There's a huge risk of angering the corporations and government entities that depend on you for advertising or favorable coverage. That's part of it. You probably recognize that this is not the type of thing you can explain in a 90-second segment, and that risks alienating your viewers based on the decreased attention spans and desire for these quick stories that are easy to understand and explain. I actually sympathize, or at least I understand why corporate media doesn't want to cover this story.
I do too. If you go online and look up an article explaining what the TPP is, it's incredibly boring. There are lots of details to go over, and it's shocking. But is it the most interesting read? No, it isn't. And so you lose people when you start talking about that.
Everyone should be outraged about this. This is bad for individuals. This further excuses corporate activity that is not good for the average person. We should all be up in arms about this, but shockingly, as I found out over the weekend, very few people are even aware of this. And if you're not aware of it, Lewis, it's hard to know the details of why it's such a threat to the average consumer.
Agreed. It's sad when protests in other countries are what's going to bring people's attention to this.